What if I told you that the fight for India's freedom wasn't just about grand speeches or massive protests, but about something as simple yet profound as salt, cotton, and a man who dared to starve himself for justice? What if I told you that the true revolution wasn't fought on battlefields, but in the hearts and minds of millions, who defied the most powerful empire the world had ever seen? This isn't just another tale of oppression and struggle. It's the explosive true story of how 1.5 billion people came together to shake off the grip of the British Empire, topple centuries of colonial rule, and pay a bloody price for the dream of liberty. From the blood-soaked streets of Punjab to the peaceful shores where salt was gathered, this story is filled with unexpected heroes, unthinkable sacrifices, and a movement that changed the course of history forever. Are you ready to witness the untold story of India's fight for freedom? Right now, India stands as a global superpower, an emerging tech hub, a thriving cultural giant, and the largest democracy the world has ever known. It is a land of innovation, with bustling cities that lead the world in IT, entertainment, and commerce. Yet, just 75 years ago, India was a very different place. It was the heart of the British colonial empire, a land exploited for its resources, its wealth drained to fuel the expansion of the British crown. It was a nation divided by centuries-old religious and cultural differences, its people struggling under a regime that sowed division, poverty, and famine. At that time, India wasn't the powerhouse it is today. It was a land of princes and peasants, with an incredible history of empires, kings, and scholars, but also one where millions lived under the thumb of foreign rule. The British Empire had long considered India its jewel in the crown, a treasure trove of wealth from spices, cotton, opium, and tea that funded imperial ambitions. Yet, for all the riches extracted from Indian soil, the people of India were left impoverished, hungry, and disillusioned. How did this vast and complex land, which had once been home to the greatest empires in the world, come to rise up against its colonial rulers? How did a nation, fractured by religion, caste, and class, come together to fight for freedom? And why, after all that struggle, did independence come at such a high cost? A partition that ripped the country apart and sowed the seeds for violent conflict that continue to haunt the subcontinent to this day. The answers lie in the story of one of the most powerful revolutions the world has ever seen. It's a tale of sacrifice, of unity and division, of courage and despair. A story of how 1.5 billion people, who had once been subjects of an empire, became citizens of a free nation, and how that freedom came with an unimaginable price. So, buckle up. We're about to dive into the revolution that not only changed India but also transformed the entire Asian continent, setting in motion a series of events that would shape the world for generations to come. The British invasion, from trade to tyranny. It started with a business deal. In 1600, the British East India Company landed in India, not with armies, but with ledgers. Their goal? Profit. India was a golden goose. Spices, textiles, and opium flowed from its ports. But by 1757, after the Battle of Plassey, the company turned predator. They bribed local rulers, raised private armies, and carved India into a corporate kingdom. The darkest trick. The British didn't just take India's resources, they broke its backbone. Artisans had their thumbs cut off to stop them from weaving cotton. Farmers were forced to grow indigo instead of food. And when famine struck, like the 1770 Bengal famine that killed 10 million, the company kept exporting grain. As one British governor wrote, "The bones of the weavers are bleaching the plains of India." 1857. The war that almost worked. The spark. A rumor. Indian soldiers, sepoys, heard their rifle cartridges were greased with cow and pig fat, unthinkable for Hindus and Muslims. They revolted, slaughtering British officers and declaring an empire. But the British retaliated with hellfire. Villages burned, rebels were tied to cannons, and Delhi was left in ruins. Over 800,000 Indians died. The East India Company collapsed, but Britain's crown took direct control. The new rule: divide and conquer. The British pitted Hindus against Muslims, princes against peasants. Meanwhile, India's wealth built London's palaces, while its people starved. By 1900, 30 million Indians had died in preventable famines. The weapon they never saw coming. Enter Mohandas Gandhi, a lawyer in a loincloth. His strategy: Satyagraha, truth force. No guns, no violence, just unstoppable resistance. 1919, after British troops massacred 1,500 unarmed protesters in Amritsar, Gandhi launched boycotts. Indians burned British cloth, quit government jobs, and ignored colonial courts. 1930. The Salt March. Gandhi walked 240 miles to the sea, scooped up salt, defying Britain's monopoly, and sparked a nationwide rebellion. 60,000 were arrested, but the world took notice. The British dilemma: jail Gandhi, and you make him a martyr. Let him go, and he'll topple your empire. By 1942, Britain was desperate. With Japan invading Burma, they needed Indian troops, but Gandhi demanded freedom first. His Quit India movement shut down railways, factories, and ports. The British responded with torture and mass arrests, but the tide was turning. The final blow: after the war, Britain was bankrupt. The new Labour Party refused to spend blood and treasure holding India. In 1947, they made a deal, but with a deadly twist. Freedom at what cost? The British drew a line on a map: Hindu-majority India here, Muslim-majority Pakistan there. Overnight, 15 million people became refugees. Trains full of corpses crossed borders. Streets ran red in Punjab. Estimates say 1 million died in the chaos. Gandhi's heartbreak: he dreamed of a united India. Instead, he was shot in 1948 by a Hindu extremist. Today, India is a paradox: a nuclear power with ancient temples, a space program alongside slums. But its freedom struggle inspired Mandela, MLK, and movements worldwide. The unanswered question: was partition inevitable? Could Hindus and Muslims have shared one nation? Let's debate in the comments. If this story has moved you, if you felt the weight of India's struggle, the sacrifices made, and the triumph of a nation that refused to be broken, then take a moment to show your support. Smash that like button. It's not just a click. It's the algorithm's version of civil disobedience, a way for us to break free from the noise and amplify the voices that matter. If you want to learn more about untold histories that changed the world, subscribe to this channel and join us on this journey of discovery. And here's where you come in. I want to hear from you. After witnessing the incredible power of Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolence and its impact on India's fight for independence, do you think it could work today? In a world full of division, conflict, and injustice, is there still a place for the kind of resistance that seeks peace instead of violence? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading and responding. Let's have a meaningful conversation about how the past can shape our future. Don't miss the next video where we'll explore another untold story: how Africa fought back and broke free from colonialism. Trust me, you won't want to miss that one. Hit the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when it drops. Together, we're rewriting history, one story at a time.